Hey everybody, welcome to Round the Twist. It's April 23rd, I think, 2018. I've kind of lost track of the days. I don't know where the frog is coming from in my throat all of a sudden. I don't have anything to drink down here, so bear with me. It's been another not so wonderful week. On the plus side, Daisy has started snuggling with me again. On the not so great side, we're just going to get the housekeeping bit out of the way. I had my work weekend this last week and received a call from a fellow nurse's daughter, a coworker's daughter, saying that my coworker had passed away very suddenly the day before. So, Sunday was kind of hard to get through at work because that happened fairly early in the morning. The patients could tell something was off. The staff, everything went very subdued. So the hospital I work at, it's not what you'd think of as it's not a large hospital, where you think there's ICU and med-surg and cardiac and everything. We are a rehab hospital. We have 40 beds. And that's it. That's our whole hospital. We do rehabilitation, physical rehabilitation. That's what we do. So our crew is more like family. So this is pretty hard. Since it was the weekend, we didn't have anyone from upper management there to help deal with it. It was me, since I was a charge nurse this weekend. So obviously, man, I'm glad I didn't get rid of the washcloth from last week. It was still sitting on my desk. Sorry, guys. But it was rough because since I was in charge, I was the one that had to let everyone know what had happened. I didn't want it, getting out in the rumor mill starting and things spreading. So contacted the people above me who are in charge but don't work the weekends, and I don't know how things are going at work today because obviously I'm home, but there's going to be a big gap and we're going to be pretty subdued for a while. So I'm done. I'm done being an adult. I really am. I want to color and knit in my blanket fort, and anyone who wants to join me is welcome because I'm done with this. I really am. So I did get some knitting done and some other crafty related things this weekend. So let's move on with that. Enough. I hate this that I'm coming to you guys every week and leading off with something sad. This sucks. But there you have it. Once again, I had to be the strong one and hold it together for everyone else, and it's getting to me. We'll just leave it at that. So first thing, like the only active thing that I've actively been working on this week has been my Beck sweater. The pattern is Beck by Danny Sunshine. I'm doing the 40-inch bust size using Rowan Felted Tweed DK. Oh, do I have to block? There we go. And I think I'm on ball 4 or 5. I don't even know how many. I have something like 14 balls of this stuff. I'm probably going to be able to get, at the rate I'm going to be able to get at least 3 more sweaters out of this. So this, I'm fairly close to being done with the body. I'm knitting up on a US 6, a 4.0 millimeter needle. Without putting it on waste yarn, it's kind of hard to tell. I have measured, so from the underarm, I'm currently at just shy, like literally one row away from 16 inches. So if I position, and you can see my crazy LuLaRoe leggings. So my waist is here. I have a very high waist. I know I've told you guys that before. My waist is here. So I'm sitting on top of my hip bones. So actually, I think, because I'm supposed to do 1.5 inches of the ribbing, the edging, the garter, whatever the heck it is. So I may get to the end of the round and start doing that. Since last week, there's my little cup stitch marker. Need a little laddering there. Hopefully that comes out with blocking. Didn't notice it was doing that. That's lovely. Blocking will fix it, right? That'll block right out. Oh, the lies knitters tell. 1, 2. I did about 2.5 inches, I'd say. So hopefully by next week, I'll be able to show you a finished sweater body. And I'm moving my clip up as we speak. So I'm ready. So I've made decent progress on that. It's just mindless stockinette round and round. It's so nice to just sit and watch something in the evening and have these huge swaths of stockinette. So the other thing, it didn't really get any progress on it except for progress to what it will eventually be. This last week, my parents were here to help us in our gap between our nanny leaving and my friend Sarah coming out to be our new nanny. So my mom and dad came out to help Grandma and Papa to the rescue. Thank you, Mom and Dad, again. I know you're going to be watching this. And my mom brought out her, what I believe is only part of her Socks That Rock stash, but it was a large, it was like a Tupperware that was maybe 18 inches tall, 18 inches wide, and maybe a foot deep. And so my blanket itself, while it doesn't look any different, it's not any bigger. However, you won't be able to really see it, and I'm sorry for the crinkling. All those new little balls, all these, there's probably about at least 20 new colors that my mom contributed to the cause. We broke into skeins that she hadn't even used yet and wound off. What did we wind off, Mom? Was it 10-gram balls? 10 to 11-gram balls. She was my Swift. And I hand wound balls with my little kitchen scale sitting on the floor in the living room. So there, and I went through all of them, went, I don't have that one, I have that one, I have that one, and sorted them out. And there were only maybe 5 colors that overlapped with stuff I had in the stash in here. So I should be able to get, going by weight, I weighed some of the centers that I already have done in here, all of these, that I haven't joined on yet. So these each weigh 3 grams. So I took 10 grams, so that should be, in theory, enough to get 3 centers out of these. God, that one always looks so blue. It's not. It's purple. That's purple, I tell you. But, yeah. So I've got a large contribution. I just need to sit down and do them, and I need to add these like 8, 9 hexies. I think I have more in here on. I also added the ball into here from hubby's Steampunk Sonata socks. So you'll be seeing hexies of those very soon. This is my stained glass blanket take 2. After I had done those like 300 some odd hexagons in a different pattern, I chose this one. The pattern for these is free. It's called Juggling Hexes by Wendy Harbaugh, and I'm using Socks That Rock light and medium weight for the centers, and then the Loopy U Solid Series in black. It is no longer available. I've had it in my stash for years with this in mind, to join to the edging, so it looks like a stained glass window, in theory. It's going to be just a riot of color and so much fun. And right now it's just kind of a little lap throw. It doesn't even, like if it's at my waist, it hangs over my knees sitting here, but it's getting bigger. So that's everything that I have. Next week I might have revived Pokey Things. Not for the cross stitch, unfortunately. I'm so close, and I stalled out for like the last year on Tara's cross stitch Once Upon a Time, but hubby has a blanket, a quilt, very simple quilt that his aunt made him when he was in college, and it's got It's known as the deer blanket in our house because it's got almost like a camouflage fabric, or it's like trees and deer. There's deer interspersed in it. It's very autumnal, and then the back is kind of a teal green. Somehow, some way, granted it's a good 10, 12 years old and heavily used, it developed a hole. It's like a little slit in it. It's only maybe half an inch long. I want to stop it in its tracks before it gets any further. So the plan, obviously I don't have any fabric of this quilt left because I didn't make the quilt. So the plan is to somehow reinforce that hole so it won't grow anymore even once I put a patch on. And I'm going to take some fabric that I've got in there in my stash. Probably some of the stuff that I used for Tara's little reversible jumper dress that I made for her. The bird stripey one, and use that to patch both sides of the quilt. So I'll probably, quilters, tell me if this is wrong, but there's no way for me to match it. So that's out the window. So I'm going to go with a patch, but I'm going to reinforce around so it doesn't go anywhere. And that's the plan. Sooner rather than later. But because of that coworker's death at the hospital, I'm also helping by picking up some extra shifts since we'll have Sarah here and I'll have a little more free time. So to help cover with that, yeah, that's the plan anyway. So since this is an extremely short show, which I know you guys don't care how long or short it is, you just ask that you don't even ask that I put them out. Let's see, I'm going to do a couple questions out of the Any Questions thread because I know I've got a couple of very short ones here. So if you have anything you want to ask me within reason, please tell me. Go over to the Any Questions thread. It's stickied on the Ravelry group and pop your question in the thread. Knitting Samurai, the lovely Steph, who has just gotten back into doing her knitting, or her video podcast, and also started a little stitch marker business, which I can't remember the name of. Steph, you're going to have to help me out here. Shout out in the comments. She posted about 6 months ago. Hey Karen, I know you and your husband enjoy the Witcher games, but have you read the books? I'm on the third one. I've enjoyed them all. They are available on Audible. Thank you for the tidbit. No, I haven't. I knew they were based on a book series, but it's not something that I've actually read. But I love the video games. The music is amazing, and so are the graphics. It just absolutely beautiful, along with the storyline. It really makes you think. And hubby's playing through he's been working on playing through, I think, his third, maybe his fourth time. Harder levels every time, like I've said before. And every time the story slightly changes because he's like, I can't remember what choice I made. So it's not a linear progression. Eventually you get to where you're going, where they want you to be, but there's all these side quests and everything, and the story changes based on the choices you make, kind of like the old choose your own adventure books. So I enjoy watching him play because of that. But I haven't read the games. Read the books, Steph, so thank you for letting me know that they're on Audible. Mark that one. And then Woolly Mittens, who is Heather, said, I hope this hasn't already been asked, but what is your favorite non-traditional knitting and crafty tool? You know, something that's meant to be used for something else, but you use it for crafty stuff instead, like using super floss to hold beads for adding to the knitting. Post-it notes. Big one when I still use paper patterns occasionally. Post-it notes with me all the time. I still have some, and these are eons old. It used to be a stack about yay thick that had 3 different colors, and I'm on the last color. And these are legit post-it notes. I don't make any money off of them. I spend way too much. But they are, I don't even know if they make them anymore. They are these super sticky post-it notes. So y'all know the struggle. And I know everything's on iPad or on Goodreads or whatever, where you can PDF expert, where you can mark off where you're at. But if you're carrying a paper pattern and you've got a chart or a row and you're marking by moving your post-it note down, we've all known the struggle where the post-it note falls off in your bag. These last probably 6 times as long before the sticky wears out. Love, love, love them. I need to find more. I'm sure they're available somewhere. I just haven't Googled because I'm not quite out of them yet. And then I'll panic and Google, and I'm sure they're on Amazon or something. I used to carry like a big, I don't want to say big, it was like a little thing like this. I don't even know. It might have been used to hold like an electric razor at some point or another, and I probably stole it from my dad. A little pouch about yay big, and it pooched out about that wide. And I put everything in there. I had my chibi needle case in there, my scissors, snips. I kept dental floss in there because you can use it as a lifeline at all times. I kept safety pins. I know they always say for knitting, use the coil-less safety pins. I never had a problem. I just kept regular ones, but big ones. They could double as a small stitch holder for like underarms of sweaters. I could use them as a cable needle if I had to. Ooh, speaking of that, many times in a pinch when I used to work nights at my last hospital, I'd use paper clips. I'd all of a sudden go, oh, poop. I brought my sock project. I didn't bring my cable needle to do the cable on this sock. And it's like, what can I use? Oh, paper clip. And I just unbend a paper clip and use that. So many things. It's be MacGyver. Think outside the box. Use anything. Don't just go, oh, it's this. I can't use it for that. It's reimagining what you have around you. And I find I'm using that. I have used that a lot over the years with my nursing career too. So maybe that's why I do things like that. Anything nearby you can be used. I use the paper clips as stitch markers too when I needed to. Just anything that you have available. But the big ones for me were safety pins, and I always tried to carry some with me. Paper clips, Post-it notes, dental floss. You can do so much with those things. Not the mint dental floss, not the powdery kind. You need just plain waxed dental floss so that, well, it wouldn't be bad if your knitting smelled like mint, but the kind that's kind of like loosely spun yarn. I can't even remember what kind it is, I think. But anyway, so hopefully that answers your question. Heather, man, I'm through adulting. I'll get this show up, and I will see you all next week. Until then, happy knitting.